Hi, I'm Ishaa and I'm a Juris Doctor student at the University of Sydney, and I just came back from implementing the Davis Project for Peace called Beauty in Banking in New Delhi, India. So my project, Beauty in Banking, it's pretty weird, these two worlds coming together. So the way that I got this idea is that I was in New Delhi, I was in India, during December, and this was just after the demonetisation policy had been implemented. And what that is that the government took out all the 500 and 1,000 rupee notes. So they're incentivizing people to stop using cash and go digital. But there's such a large sector of the economy which is completely cash-based. Over, say, 80% of transactions happen in cash. And for a society where, sadly, 80% of women are financially absolutely not literate, it's really hard to implement that change. So beauty is a really popular vocational subject for a lot of girls who come from low income, low education families. And before demonetization, they got all their money in cash. It was a day-to-day sort of job. And as soon as it happened, they were unable to take payments from customers. They were unable to give back change. Their business had just come to a complete stop. And this was a problem for people who had their own businesses, as well as people who were in schools, as well as people who were, working in someone else's business. They were losing their job because they couldn't handle, writing a check or basic things like that. So that's sort of how the idea came to me. And I personally faced the problem as well as this little, 21-year-old girl going into a bank and saying, "Hi, give me a bank account." And they said, "Get in line behind those 200 other people waiting out there." The actual project ran over a space of 7 days. We did mobile workshops, which meant that we went to their place of learning and we taught them, this was just like any other lesson. They learned about makeovers in the morning, skincare in the evening, and banking in the afternoon. It's part of who they need to be in order to be a professional in their industry. We went to about 6 different schools, and everywhere was a completely diverse experience. At some places we had young girls who were just about 16, 17 years old at the start of their careers, had no idea that this policy had even come into play. So it was a whole new world for them. And then the other spectrum of it was a bit more mature students who were working on their professional development, and they wanted to move out of being service practitioners to being entrepreneurs. They wanted to set up their own businesses. So the knowledge about loans and applying for finance and doing like market research was all really relevant to them. I think the most important thing was awareness, which translated into empowerment for them. It translated into respect in their own houses. They don't have to call their husbands or, brothers up every 10 minutes whenever they have a customer in store. And just seeing that change was really important. So the initial hurdle I actually realized back in February when I got the Davis Project grant, and I'd said, I'm going to recruit 200 girls, 150 girls. They'll come to me and they'll learn for 3 days. And then I started talking to people and they said, our girls are not going to give up 3 days of their life. They earn on a per job basis. They're not going to want to do that. And secondly, young girls just didn't care. You don't know what you don't know. So that was the biggest challenge. And the way I transformed that was making it a mobile workshop project. So going to their school instead of making them come to me. When I think about the outcomes of the project, yes, financial independence is a thing, but more than that, it's confidence. Being able to say, hey, I might not know about this, but I want to know about it, and I want to speak to others about it. Just spreading the message. For so many girls, that might be going back to their elderly parents and explaining what this is. It might be them even telling their, helpers in their house, like, this is how I can make payments to you. It might be them even just starting to think about starting a business. So it's just that shift of thinking, which I think was a much bigger goal than pure financial literacy. So this project obviously was my little idea, but in making it a reality, so many people and so many communities were involved across India and Australia and every part of the world. I've never had a fuller email inbox. So I'd like to thank the University of Sydney, International House. They gave me all the support and resources, and of course the Davis Peace Foundation, who give out hundreds of grants every year. And it's just fantastic that absolutely anyone should apply and take on an experience like this. A big thank you to everyone involved in the banking, in the beauty, in the research. Without them, none of this would have been a reality. And so much so, I can say with confidence that even without me there in person, this project can exist solely. I can see it becoming an aspect of people's future. So many people said to me, this should be a part of our whole beauty curriculum. Why don't we have a week on financial training? Why don't we have, up and coming sort of workshops for training for students? And that really gave me the confidence, and it really helped me realise the support and impact of the community I was working in.